Aphrodite, Roman name Venus, the Lady of Cyprus. Two stories on the birth of Aphrodite. Aphrodite has two origins. Hesiod says that Aphrodite came from the frothy mix of sea, the sea foam, and Uranus's genitals, when Cronus dismembered his father. She washed ashore either at the city of Paphos on Cyprus or on the island Kythera. Paphos was also the site of Aphrodite's main temple on Cyprus. Homer calls Aphrodite the daughter of Zeus and Dione, who was either a Titan or one of the daughters of Oceanos. The name Dione is also the feminine form of Zeus's name. Aphrodite's unhappy marriage. Aphrodite was married to the blacksmith god, Hephaestus, but the two never had any children. This is not to say Aphrodite never had children. In fact, she had several children from her long-standing affair with the war god Ares. Together they had Harmonia, who was married to the Theban king Cadmus, Eros, known as Cupid in Latin, Phobos, panic, and Deimos, fear. Hephaestus was not happy when he learned of this affair, and trapped the lovers in a net. Aphrodite and Adonis. Aphrodite also had notable mortal lovers, including Adonis and Anchises. Adonis was a handsome young man, and Aphrodite fell deeply in love with him. Persephone was also in love with Adonis, so they went to Zeus to decide who would have the youth's love. Zeus split Adonis's time into 3 parts. He gave 1 part to each goddess and 1 to Adonis himself to decide where to spend it. Adonis chose to spend his portion of the year with Aphrodite. The deal did not last long, though, because Adonis was quite fond of hunting. On a wild boar hunt, he was gored by the animal and died. Aphrodite was distraught, and she induced an anemone to grow from Adonis's blood. Aphrodite and Anchises. Anchises was a young Trojan nobleman who tended the herds on the Mount Ida. Zeus was angry at Aphrodite for making the gods, especially himself, fall in love with mortals and make fools of themselves, pursuing them, so he caused Aphrodite to fall madly in love with Anchises. After she consummated her love for Anchises, Aphrodite made him promise never to tell anyone they slept together, on pain of a thunderbolt from Zeus. But apparently Anchises could not keep his promise. The next time we see Anchises in the Aeneid, he is lame from having been struck by Zeus's thunderbolt. Anchises clearly did not die from this punishment, but he seems to have been crippled for the rest of his life. The product of their union was Aeneas, whom Aphrodite saved from death multiple times during the Trojan War. Aphrodite's anger. Like other gods, Aphrodite would punish anyone, mortal or god, for slights against her. Theseus' son, Hippolytus, became a devotee of the virgin goddess, Artemis, and thus shunned the pleasure of the flesh. This angered Aphrodite, who felt that Hippolytus did not worship her sufficiently. To get back at Hippolytus, she caused his death by making his stepmother, Phaedra, fall in love with him. She also punished Eos, the goddess of the dawn, for having an affair with Ares, by making her fall in love with mortal after mortal. In a story not seen until the Roman period, Venus, Aphrodite, hounded the beautiful girl Psyche just for being beautiful. Psyche, whose name means soul in Greek, was so beautiful that the people around her worshipped her instead of Venus. Psyche did not ask for this worship, but Venus wanted to punish her anyway. Venus sent her son Cupid to shoot Psyche with his arrows and make her fall in love with some hideous beast. This didn't go according to plan, and Cupid fell in love with Psyche himself. Cupid hid Psyche in his palace, not telling her who he was until she learned his identity through a trick. In his anger at being tricked, Cupid threw her out of his house. Psyche wandered around Greece until she came to a temple of Venus and submitted herself to Venus's wrath. Venus gave her several impossible tasks, like sorting a large pile of grain in one night or bringing back a water from the river Styx. Venus gave her these tasks, hoping she would fail, but the world helped Psyche along the way. Ants helped her sort the grain. An eagle took the jar and filled it with water from the river Styx for her. After Psyche had successfully completed these other tasks, which were impossible, Cupid forgave her for his deceit. Cupid forgave her for her deceit. He then brought her to Jupiter, who put an end to the enmity between Psyche and Venus, and allowed Cupid and Psyche to marry. The origin of Aphrodite. Aphrodite originally began as a fertility goddess and had close connections with other Near Eastern fertility goddesses, such as Astarte, Sibyl, and Ishtar. At one point, these may all have been the same goddess. Aphrodite's main centers of worship were on Cyprus, an island that served as a crossroad between Greece and the Near East, as well as in Near Eastern sites. Her Eastern origins may explain why she favored the Trojans during the Trojan War.